Joining us now on BTB Live, episode 98, we have Cinelinx and StarWars.com's Jordan Mason. How are you doing, sir? It is so good to see you.
Hey, guys. I appreciate you having me on here.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to be talking Star Wars here with you in the next, 10 minutes or so. I want to dive right into it, Jordan, if we can. You have a report, The Bad Batch. It's the Clone Wars spinoff for Disney Plus, and it sounds like we're going to have a familiar Mandalorian now making an appearance on that series. Can you just kind of break down what you've been able to uncover?
Well, it unfortunately hasn't been a whole lot. From what I've heard, is that Bo Katan will end up popping up in the Bad Batch as well. So she's going back to her cartoon roots there after getting the live action debut the other week. I heard this earlier last week and spent the better part of 2 or 3 days trying to get more information. But all I could really get from 3-4 different sources is that she's in there, and but I have no idea how she's going to pop in there just yet. More, I'm sure it'll be played by Katie Sackhoff as well. But I did a whole lot of digging. I heard from 2 separate people, like in the same day, saying, "Hey, she's popping up." I also saw that there's some merchandise that would normally be associated with the Bad Batch that had her name on it as well, which was one of the first clues that I got. And then I heard from a random other person that it was happening. Then I dug in, talked to some of my other people that I normally do with this stuff, and I got really solid that she's in there. I don't know how, but I know she's in there.
I'm really excited for it to see this story. I think it's a really interesting way to do a spinoff of the Clone Wars. It's not the first place I would have gone. I did like these characters as far as the time we got to spend with them in season 7. So I'm cautiously optimistic, I would say the least. And I, you know what, I know that Mandalorian's a big topic, and I know Arezou has a question for you. So we'll go there next. But yeah, just super excited about what the Bad Batch has to offer.
Yeah. Okay, so my Mandalorian question is, like, with this week we have Dave Filoni's directing. We think Ahsoka's going to be there. So what I want to know is, like, do you think she's going to play like a really big role in the episode? Do you think it's going to be like a minor bit like Luke at the end of The Force Awakens, where she just kind of turns around and then her whole thing is in the episode after? Like, I was kind of wondering what your thoughts on that were.
I don't know. That's a hard one. I mean, they've done such a really good job of keeping the Mandalorian story stuff locked. Aside from some casting stuff that came out, it's a tough call. I wouldn't be surprised if they go whole hog with it. I mean, I've heard whispers, but I don't think this is all. I'm not entirely sure this would be the only episode that she shows up in. Which could mean that she's only in there for a little bit in this time, and then she pops up later in the next episode or down the road. But I have a strong feeling. I would imagine that it would be more than just a little bit, like they did with Luke at the end of Force Awakens. I imagine that it would be more. It feels like, based off what we've seen so far and where the story's heading, that's a major goal that he's been getting to, and where he's been leading the whole time. And that's only through resolution with her are they going to get to the next, whatever story point they're going to.
I think
which would have to be more than 5 or 10 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. The payoff has to be big, and I think the assumption is with Dave Filoni directing that episode is that it will be substantial. He gets to bring his actual intellectual property, like the character he created, to the live screen. I think a lot of fans are really excited about that. What my question to you now is, it feels as if there is something larger being developed in the background, in the backdrop of The Mandalorian. I don't think it's done unintentionally, where season 1 we knew absolutely nothing. Season 2, we're being told one way or another, this character is showing up, this character is popping up, this planet's popping up. We're getting Boba Fett. We've gotten Bo Katan. We anticipate seeing Ahsoka Tano here in the next 48 hours in her live-action debut. Do you have any reason to believe that we are witnessing the formation of a Star Wars equivalent to the MCU? Because at this point right now, we've got, 2 side projects that are related to this live-action world, we believe?
Oh, yeah. And I think they've been building that. And I think the first season of Mandalorian was built specifically with that in mind. The main goal being anybody. It's accessible to anybody. Anybody can get into it. Anybody can watch. And even how they've introduced these familiar characters to us, longtime fans, they've done it in a way that makes it easy for anybody to get into. And I think that's part of what they want to do is this can be a stepping stone where people can get started on their Star Wars journey with The Mandalorian and still use it to introduce themselves to other stuff. I mean, I've had people at work, buddies of mine, come up to me and said, okay, they haven't really cared about the movies or anything like that, but they're loving The Mandalorian and they hear all these character names and they've come up to me. It's like, okay, I'm ready to get into Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels, and I think that's kind of the genius of how they've set it up. They set it up to where it's so easy to get into that you naturally want to learn more about the bigger Star Wars universe.
And when you say that, I guess I'm curious, do you think it could be too much too soon, or is it a thing where we have complete confidence because you have Jon Favreau, who has experience launching a big universe, and you have Dave Filoni there as curator of the Star Wars story? This seems like it's like the best 1-2 combo that the franchise has to offer to do this.
I mean, I know there's always been some concern about too much too soon, as far as, we got one movie a year for a little bit there. And, Solo didn't do as well in theaters, and some people attributed that to, just being overwhelming. And I personally have never bought into that. I think that's more of a marketing thing. And the idea that they want to keep everything Star Wars as these big, huge event things, which I can understand, but it's also limited some of the marketing decisions that they've made, which, is very drastically different from their approach to, Marvel, which is all under the same house, essentially. You have 3-4 Marvel movies a year, and each of them do incredibly well, and because they're well marketed and they're pushed, and they just took a different strategy when it came to Star Wars stuff. But I think with TV shows, they're in a new territory where they could do more because they're TV shows and they feel like you can consume them in bite-sized pieces, that I think people would be more willing to consume more of it. And it sounds like they're going to get to a point where they're going to have to. You've got season 3 of Mandalorian that they're currently working on. The Kenobi series, Cassian series. These are all going to come out within. They're all going to be filming around the same time and essentially ready to release around the same time. So they're going to have to figure out, how do we release 3 shows in at least a year's period of time. So, and I think it'll be easier with TV and streaming. But I don't think, personally speaking, I can never get enough. So,
well, hey, there's a reason why we do an hour-long show every Wednesday night here live on YouTube, is because we freaking love this stuff. I did want to ask, I guess, that you mentioned how there's, the Kenobi project, and I tweeted it out yesterday. If you think about it right now, there are like 9 projects that are in development, whether it's Kenobi, the Bad Batch, the Clone Wars, the Ahsoka Sabine thing. There's possibly the Star Wars Rebels spinoff with Ahsoka and Sabine. You keep going down the list. Kenobi, Cassian Andor. You have the female-led project. that we know like absolutely nothing about.
Yeah.
It feels
Boba
like
Fett that's filming.
Right, the Boba Fett project that is supposed to happen in between Return of the Jedi and The Mandalorian. And so it just seems like a golden era for Star Wars, and to be a Star Wars fan. Disney really doubling down on Disney Plus and its streaming platform. Disney has said a few different ways, whether it's Bob Iger or Kathleen Kennedy, the focus has shifted from the big screen to streaming. That's probably exacerbated because of the pandemic. Of all the Star Wars stories that you're most excited about, and again, we're joined with Jordan Mason here of Cinelinx and BylineStarWars.com. Jordan, what is the upcoming Star Wars project that has you excited the most of the dozen that we have in development right now?
Oh my goodness.
I'm putting you on the spot, bud.
Man, that's tough. Gosh, because there's so much.
It's a great problem to have.
Really good stuff. Yeah, it's a great problem to have. It's tough, and it just depends on what some of it ends up being. I really love Taika Waititi's all of his work, and I'm super looking forward to his new film and what he does in Star Wars. But probably, if I had to say of what's been officially announced right now, is Kenobi. I grew up with the original trilogy. I wore up the VHS tapes on the originals. The first time I saw them on the big screen was special editions. So the prequels were really the ones I grew up with in my time period. And just seeing more of Kenobi and Ian McGregor is just feels like a dream come true. And I've heard some exciting things about, how they plan to do some stuff there and how it's going to, and Deborah Chow is an amazing director, and she directed still two of my favorite episodes of The Mandalorian. So I can't wait to see her with the series.
I think we're all in that same situation. Really excited to see what she does. Ben in the live chat, what Filoni and Favreau are setting up is as close to a Disney Lucasfilm retcon of the sequels that we're going to get. Wow, that's a hot take. I don't know if that's true.
I don't agree with that.
I just think that we're going to get to explore a lot of these characters more intimately. I like what you were saying about Kenobi. I hope that we get this like disheveled old hermit in the sands of Tatooine, contemplating with the fact that he lost his best friend, he lost the love of his life. He just killed like 3 months ago the guy that killed his master. I mean, this guy's messed up. Honestly, if he doesn't cry at least 3 times, I think that we should get our money back for that month, because this man needs to be broken. Damn it! I want this man to be just moaning and shouting at the sun. I just think I think I'm with you. I think that's my favorite, but that's also because I think that Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the 3 top things that we got from the prequels. I just think that Ewan freaking nailed that role.
It's a top 3 thing, period, for me, is him as Ewan, like in the whole thing.
Go off, Arezou. Why?
Well, no, because like Jordan, like I grew up on the prequels, and he is one of my favorite things about those movies, and just because it is such a nuanced portrayal and it just has like implications for the series as a whole, I think that elevates his performance as Obi-Wan to like one of my top 3 things about Star Wars, period.
I love it. I love it. We're joined by Jordan Mason here on BTB Live, episode 98. Jordan, so glad that you're able to join us. Thanksgiving is tomorrow for us Americans. I'd like to ask you, before you head out, what are you most thankful for this year?
Well,
it's hard in 2020.
It's been a rough year. It's been a rough year. Honestly, sappy as it sounds, for me personally, I'm very grateful that my family's been able to stay healthy. We have that's the tough part, is we have multiple people in the house who fall into the high risk category for one reason or another, including some of the kids. So it's been really stressful to try and keep everybody healthy, and so far we have, which I can't ask for anything more than that, especially right now.
Awesome. Well, we are thankful that you and your family are doing well, and we hope that you guys continue to do well as we get through this pandemic. Hopefully it's over sooner than later.
Yeah.
Jordan, if people want to follow you for more Star Wars conversation, what's the best way for that to happen?
Absolutely, the best way is, as far as Star Wars stuff goes, is probably going to be on my Twitter, which is right there across the screen at Jordan Mason, Mason with an I. But of course, you can always check me out on Cinelinx.com, where I'm posting, news about all kinds of movies, video games, of course, Star Wars speculation and scoops when they come across, and I can verify them.
Well, Jordan, we hope that you can join us in the very near future with some more of your scoops. That would be fantastic.
I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Blast Doors. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, give us a thumbs up and leave a comment. Beyond the Blast Doors, a Star Wars conversation.